Okay, so this is a Black Agenda radio commentary by Glenn Ford. Okay,
Called
and he's saying, oh shit, let me close this down. He's saying black soldiers are fighting for survival against the world's biggest lynch mob, armed to the teeth by the United States and Europe. When it comes to blacks, whether Libyans or immigrant workers, NATO-backed rebels have shown no respect for the rules of war, or for women and children. If surrender means torture and debasement or summary execution at the hands of racist killers, the only option is a battle to the bitter end. Black Libyans make their stand in Sirte and Bani Walid. A Black Agenda radio commentary by Glenn Ford. Now, the black defenders of certain Bani Walid fight like lions because they have no choice. Both NATO and their Libyan rebel surrogates express wonder at the fact that loyalist forces continue to fight so fiercely in the contested cities of certain Bani Walid, despite being vastly outnumbered on the ground and unceasingly pummeled from above by the world's largest air armada. Now, but what you're seeing is now I remember when this happened, and what you're seeing was a fucking lynching of black people and black people just fighting for survival. That was black people fighting for survival. Okay, in 2011. That was black people being singled out, fighting for survival, and the entire city was considered as a legitimate target. The entire city was bombed. We're talking 30, 40,000 people. Okay, but it's only I was waiting for all of this to seep out. So I'm going for it now, and if you thought that, oh my goodness gracious, I'm sending this one out to anyone who was sympathetic with NATO and thought, any of you black morons who were in the fucking military and you supported this NATO action thinking you were getting rid of one of an enemy like Gaddafi, you're fucking crazy. Yeah, you really are bamboozled, and you're dangerously bamboozled. You need to stay the fuck away from me. But anyway, reading on continuing this article, but one look at a picture of Gaddafi loyalist prisoners captured at a hospital in Sirte tells the story. They are all black. The assault on Libya has largely developed into a race war, and the black soldiers are fighting for survival against the world's biggest lynch mob, armed to the teeth by the United States and Europe. Where are the people of Tawerga, the mostly black Libyan city that was wiped from the face of the earth by the rebels? Most of those who were not killed or captured have clearly made their way to Sirte and Bani Walid to make a last stand against the racist killers that Western-like army Amy Goodman of hold on a second. Let me get back because I know Amy Goodman. I listen to her articles. This is quite funny. And he actually says they're making their last stand at certain Bani Wali to make a last stand against the racist killers that Westerners like Amy Goodman of Democracy Now! Called revolutionary. I didn't realize that Amy Goodman. Oh, well, obviously, see, even your left is on the right. Even the American left is on the right. So Amy Goodman of Democracy Now! Is calling these people revolutionaries. These the racist lynch mob that I've known about for quite some time, but hasn't seemed to seep out. So I'm doing this video so hopefully it seeps out. You do some fucking research and find out what's going on, not a million miles away from you, especially if you live in Europe, right? The rebels are brazen, absolutely without shame, in their determination to cleanse Libya of its black population. They are like Arab Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, backed by a European and American Air Force, a racist militia whose fighters have vowed to purge black skin and who score the Arab equivalent of nigger on the homes of their vanquished black countrymen. Their rationalizations for ethnic cleansing and the summary executions of black prisoners are quite familiar to the American era, identical to our own practitioners of white terror. The Tawergans raped women, the rebels claim, even as international observers report it as even the international report that it is the rebels and the riffraff that surround them who have systematically raped, captured black girls and women. You fucking hear that, man? Right? I'm sitting here making this video on a fucking Saturday, right? In December, right? And this is just what's gone down, right? You know, oh my goodness. How many black, there are black people in the loop on this as well. You know there are some black people in the loop as well who know about this, and they're keeping it quiet. This is disgusting. Right, the Tuaregans say the rebels try to slaughter all the Mizratans, and this is something they have to answer for. Many of those were not killed or captured have clearly made their way to Serta to make a last stand against the racist killers. Of course, the town of Tuarega, with only 30,000 mostly black Libyans, do you hear that? Of course, the town of Tuarega, with mostly only 30,000 mostly black Libyan citizens, could not possibly have terrorized Misrata, the third biggest city in the country, 25 miles away. But racists always claim to be the victims in which of crimes in which they themselves specialize. So the Tuaregans, standing in for all blacks, are labeled rapists to justify the racist rampages of the Misratan Brigade. According to a report by none other than the Voice of America, 1/3 of all prisoners of the rebels are black, and they appear to be the lucky ones. The captured Tuareg men are nowhere to be found. It's funny, you know, when they find these bodies, they just find, and you know, in 2 or 3 months' time, you know, they're gonna find shitloads of skeletons, and they're just gonna be skeletons, right? And you can just go, and you dumbass fucking Americans are gonna be thinking, well, they're Arabs. Are they Arabs? No, you fucking morons. They're killing black people. Okay. The captured Tuareg men are nowhere to be found, and indication that the rebels don't give them a chance to surrender or keep them long after they do. Wounded blacks that have made their way to hospitals are snatched from their beds to an unknown fate. NATO says it will keep bombing until the last resistance, until the last resistance to their Libyan rebel surrogates is crushed. That appears to mean until the last free black men in Libya are captured or killed, their families caged at the mercy of racist brutes and sexual marauders. Black civilians are clearly not the kind of people that the Euro-Americans had in mind when they claimed to be on the mission to protect civilians. Are you listening to this? Right, no wonder then the defenders of certain Bani Walid fought like lions against all odds. They are heroes, but they also have no choice. The racist death squads will have no mercy. Black skin will be purged, black women raped and then killed. The first black president of the United States has unleashed a hell on black Libya. No decent person can ever forgive him, and I know he's the fucking devil. I believe that, right? But for Black Agenda Radio, hang on a second, let me go back for that. For Black Agenda Radio, I'm Glenn Ford, and that was I'm just relaying to you an article by a dude called Glenn Ford on the Black Agenda Report. I read occasionally, and no one, you know, people are walking around with their fingers up their fucking noses, still not understanding that this is the type of thing that's going on, and it's coming to a neighborhood near you soon. And oh my god, oh please, Lord, let me have enough sensibility to be away when it's done, because the ones who remain deserve it, because you can't see what's going on in front of you. You can't see what's going on 200, 300, 400, 500 miles away in North Africa for some people.
It's very clear that the people who've been calling rebels and that the corporate media now call revolutionaries are largely motivated by racist impulses in Libya. That is one of the organizing methodologies to get popular support. There's a city called Tawerga, a very small town, about 30,000 people. It's about 25 miles outside of Misrata, from whence one of the most brutal and wild brigades of the rebels comes. It's on the road to Tawerga that this brigade, which called itself the Brigade to Purge Black Skin, set out, and they have totally wiped off the face of the earth this 30,000 person town populated by black Libyans, that is, black citizens of Libya. The women and children are nowhere to be found. If you ask the Misrata Brigade where they are, they'll say, oh, they've gone to Niger, or oh, they've gone to Chad. We don't know where they've gone.